This is episode 30 of the Bluegrass Blues podcast. I'm Jesse.
And I'm Amy.
We've been away for a while. More than a month ago, I guess, was the last podcast we did. And anything been happening with you since you've been gone? Or since we've been gone?
Yeah, I went north to Ontario and kayaked and biked and hiked and enjoyed much cooler, less humid weather than we have here in Louisville, Kentucky in the summertime.
Weren't you affected by the wildfires at all?
Yes, I did. I did unfortunately time it so that about 5 days I couldn't go outside. And even inside, my eyes were burning and my chest didn't feel very good.
For people who haven't been paying attention, there were major wildfires in eastern Canada not too long ago.
Western Canada.
It was coming from the west, okay. And but the smoke lake was over the east coast of the United States.
It did.
So it went over the whole continent, essentially.
Even came here.
Meanwhile, my son and his family were in Canada as well. So it looks like that's the vacation place to go for people who don't want to go down to like Florida.
Yeah, it was so nice, except for the wildfire smoke. And I was there for Canada Day. I'd never celebrated Canada Day.
What's Canada Day?
It's on July 1st, I guess. And I think they're just 150 years old.
So it's like their 4th of July?
Mm-hmm, exactly.
Yeah, one of the things I've seen in recent conversations is that when Americans go to other countries, they're freaked out that they don't celebrate the 4th of July, which I think is hilarious. That just shows how out of touch Americans are with other cultures. And I came across that when I was in Belgium living there because, it's like the American holidays roll around like Thanksgiving and like the 4th of July. And people are saying, Americans there are saying, well, where can I go for the 4th of July? And the answer is anywhere. It's just another day here.
I will say, though, that I was in Sault Ste. Marie. It's on the St. Mary's River. And there's a Sault Ste. Marie in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan also. And one of the reasons that a lot of the Canadians were looking forward to 4th of July is that the fireworks are better.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
so we saw fireworks on July 1st for Canada Day, and that was a smaller show, and then a larger show coming from America for its 250th.
Well, yeah, and you weren't in the country for the 250th anniversary, were you?
No, I was not. I was in Canada.
It was totally a waste. It was horrible. I remember the bicentennial, and there was like a theme, and everybody felt like things were, it was like really exciting, and the events were coordinated very well. And I just knew when we got to the 250th anniversary that the guy in the White House would screw it all up.
Well, it's always about him.
Well, yeah, I mean, his reflecting pool that doesn't reflect.
Right. And then he prosecutes people when it wasn't done in the first place.
But we're just
nothing's done right in the first place.
But even just focusing on the 4th of July, they had that big fair that was supposed to be in the mall in Washington. That's where all the museums are for people who haven't been to D.C. It like stretches from the Capitol to the Lincoln Memorial. And there were like this, it was supposed to be like a celebration of America, state celebrations. And they had all these booths that were supposed to be filled by different states representing their thing. And it was just the cheapest piece of crap that you could imagine, which is what, that's probably Trump. I guess they didn't pay him off enough to do anything decently. But I was talking to my brother who lives in the Washington area. And he said that at that weekend, there was the barbecue festival in Washington was a block over, and it was just packed. It was like hundreds of thousands of people getting all these samples of barbecue. Meanwhile, literally a block away, that big farce of the 250th anniversary just didn't fly. They like told people to go away because I forget, like it was too hot or something.
Well, did you notice a lot of the Trumpers, a lot of the MAGAs were escorted over to the African American History Museum, and they were in the museum, of history that they don't even believe in, and that's where they weathered it out. I think it was rain before they could go back out and celebrate the 250th.
Yeah,
there were a lot of photos of that. What an irony.
Yeah, but it's typical of how bad things have gotten when the 250th should have been a major celebration.
Yeah.
Everybody should have felt really good about being in the country, but instead,
Immigrants? Even immigrants?
Even immigrants, no.
Brown-skinned immigrants?
yeah, everyone.
Even formerly enslaved people?
Everyone, which is what it felt like in the 200th
Yeah,
anniversary.
I remember that. I was a
God.
kid, but
Yeah, God.
76,
Yeah, I
like,
keep. It's
we're
50
old.
years ago. I'm very old
Yeah.
now. So it's like you go to Washington, you're trying to find these things, and nothing's happening. And there's lots of stuff missing in Washington, like Mitch McConnell, for example.
Yeah.
He's been gone since June 14th.
Right.
Got that call that he had fallen. I'm not sure even what the conversation was. At first, you hear that he fell. Then
and lost consciousness.
But then there were also rumors that there was a heart attack, that someone was being treated at Mitch's house for a heart attack that same day. And, since then, we haven't heard from him. And, we have heard from his office,
Yeah.
where they are saying Mitch McConnell said today XYZ. And as a former speechwriter in government, I know that I wrote lots of stuff where I'd say the governor said today blah blah blah, and he didn't say it, but it was the quote. He approved the message.
Like, unfortunately, I won't be able to make it to Fancy Farm, Kentucky this Saturday.
Yeah, that was his announcement today. And again, we have these. I swear they look like AI photos of him with his wife, and if you look at the photos of him that they're releasing now, he looks better than he has in real
right.
when we last saw him in public.
Right.
So there's this question. It's like, is he alive or is he not? We know that Lindsey Graham is dead, and you see how that went over, because I've never seen like the vitriol against a politician like there was against Lindsey Graham. And Mitch is probably going to get the same kind of vitriol. Well, actually, what's his name? The Joe Girth at the Courier-Journal wrote that long piece about what a complete and utter disaster America has become because of Mitch McConnell.
Yeah.
But, I'm looking at, this is the message Mitch put out today. I'm still working hard to get back to my full schedule of work in the Senate and in Kentucky, keeping up with intense physical therapy per my doctor's orders. Unfortunately, that means I won't be able to make it to Fancy Farm, Kentucky this Saturday. Now, Fancy Farm, for those of you who don't know what Fancy Farm means, is this huge political sort of like rallying for, and I think it's supposed to be both parties, but in recent years it's been pretty much Republican. And the politicians of Kentucky come and they give speeches, and they get that's where they can schmooze with other people, with the donors, and those kind of people. And I didn't see if Charles Booker was going. I would imagine Eddie Barr is going, but this is a big political event every year in Kentucky. And I don't think Mitch is going to Fancy Farm, because I think in the last Fancy Farm they booed him.
Well, we don't know that Mitch is alive.
No, I mean, I'm talking about the last a year ago
I
Fancy
know.
Farm.
Yes, you're right.
And, right, that's right. Is he alive or is he
Right.
dead? I've been calling him Schrodinger's senator. The reference, of course, is to the Schrodinger's cat physics theory, that if you put a cat in a box with like some kind of deadly material and you don't know if it's released or not, the question is the cat dead or is the cat alive? And you won't know until you look in the box. And our problem is we haven't looked in the box yet. We haven't seen the box because they've been very, I won't say protective, but they've been very closed-mouthed in reality.
And where are the Democrats? But before we go there, Charles Booker is going to Fancy Farm.
Okay.
And that's on August 1st, by the way, in Graves County, Kentucky. The confirmed speakers are Andy Barr, who is a Republican U.S. representative and Senate candidate,
Right.
Rand Paul, Jacqueline Coleman, who we'll be talking about a little, we won't, but she's the lieutenant governor. And she's going to be running for governor next year.
Yeah.
Russell Coleman, Attorney General, and Jamie Comer, U.S. Rep. So
And
Charles and Jacqueline are Democrats.
Right, and the thing about Comer is the rumors are that he's going to run for governor in the next election on the Republican ticket. So Fancy Farm's a big deal, and the fact that Mitch isn't going to Fancy Farm means that he's not in good health at all. but we don't even know
And
if
may
he's
not be alive.
we may not be alive. It's
Yeah.
just we haven't been able to look in the box, as they say.
Exactly.
And
there's so many opportunities for us on our side, right, to like try to pry open the box, right?
Right.
Why have we been hesitating?
Yeah.
Why are we so, you know?
I've seen commentators actually say that Andy Bashir should be doing a lot more because we all know that Andy's running for president. That's obvious. And this is like the political story in America today. Like Mitch McConnell has disappeared. No one knows if he's dead or alive. And, you know, his staff is saying he's dead. There are Republicans who've
No, the
given
staff are saying that he's alive.
Yeah, right.
You just said he was, that the staff
Okay,
said he was
well,
dead.
yeah, okay, he's alive.
Yeah.
Well, but someone has told,
alive.
someone told Andy Bashir that he had died, and he didn't say. He said some government official had said that that happened, and we just don't know where he is or what he's doing. He says, well, his staff is saying that he's in physical therapy. We don't know where. We don't know what hospital. I think he went to George Washington Hospital in D.C.
Yeah,
because
he's in DC.
I've had some medical emergencies, and I used to use that hospital as well. Very good hospital. But Mitch is now in rehab. But if you're dead, I mean, what rehab can you do? It's almost like being in The Walking Dead right now. Is he? I just don't know. And I'm trying. I'm
And
not
why
trying.
aren't we pouncing on it?
Yes.
Why aren't we pouncing on it?
Why?
And,
Why
you
is?
know,
Yeah. Well, this actually
There'd be
this
a
is.
special election. you
Yeah,
know.
that's right. The thing about Mitch is that if there isn't any definite, well, going back into Kentucky history, back when 2024, when Mitch was first glitching, like he was just freezing in his conversations, the Kentucky legislature passed a law, Republican-led legislature passed a law that said that in the event that a certain senator dies, that we're notified that a certain senator dies, we will hold a special election. That was the law. But before that, if a senator died, the governor would appoint a new senator to fill out the remainder of the term.
Right.
That
Thus
isn't-
the legislation.
But the interesting thing there is that South Carolina has a dead senator, Lindsey Graham,
Yeah.
and the governor of South Carolina appointed someone to fill
His wife.
No, not his wife, his sister.
Oh, his sister. Right.
Lindsey Graham's not married and
That's
has no children, and that's one of the things I saw. Also, that the MAGA morons. I saw one give this talk about how Democrats are just so vile and disgusting because Lindsey Graham has died, and this man had a wife and he had a family, he had grandchildren. It's like nope, none of that. So they don't even know what they're talking about. But Lindsey Graham dies, and Mitch's staff puts out a statement saying, we're sorry that Lindsey Graham died or whatever. But again, number one, this is a failure of journalism.
Totally.
Because how hard is it to just send someone to the hospital and have that person walk on the floor? And if you're a good reporter, you can find out what room he was in. You could have gone by the room and seen, if you see him up, you don't even have to ask him anything. Just look and see that he's awake. That's enough. But we don't even have that. And now he's in rehab somewhere, probably at the place that they shot Weekend at Bernie's, which was about a dead guy that people were passing off as a living guy forever. So I guess this is like Weekend at Mitch's. We just don't know. Okay.
Now, Jesse, you had asked me what would Mitch have done if he was a Democrat.
Yeah.
Talk to me.
Okay, well, Mitch, let's see. What was the last big thing that happened when a person of political importance died? Oh, Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Okay.
Mitch was immediately calling for let's have these hearings now. Let's do it before the next election.
That's why we have
whereas
Trump
before that, when
Merrick Garland. Yeah.
He delayed that until after the next election.
Yeah.
So, this is what
Consistency is not his deal.
No, it is consistent because it is screwing over the Democrats any way he can. So that's consistent.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
I will give Mitch credit for that. He is consistent in what he does, and he knows what he's doing because he knows how to manipulate the machinery.
Yeah,
If
right.
Mitch let's say Mitch was governor, and there was a Democratic senator, and the Democratic senator died.
Yeah.
What would Mitch have done? He would immediately said, okay, if this is law, no one's telling me anything, so I'm going to call for a special election. If he's alive, he'll just call me up, or he'll like send a video message saying, you can't do that. And I'll say, okay, we'll back off. But Andy's not doing that. Andy's just being, to me, he's being too much of a nice guy, because if it's like fighting fire with fire. And for anyone, like, for example, what Andy Barr, let's see, what can I say about Andy Barr? Racist, homophobic, sexist, fluffer of Donald Trump. Andy Barr says that it's beneath the governor of Kentucky to ask the condition of the senator who's supposed to represent this state and who's missing votes.
Yeah.
But
why are we even giving weight to what he says? See, this is the problem with today.
Weight to who?
Well, Andy Barr. All we talk about is what Republicans are doing all the time,
right? And
how heinous it is.
Right.
I mean, there has been no proactive messaging. We are not winning this messaging game at all.
The problem there too is that the Democratic committee is run by incompetence.
Yeah, and they're broke.
And
the guy's throwing things at his staff.
Yeah, but for those who haven't seen these stories, there was this incident where I think he threw a telephone at one of his staff members. This was the head of the Democratic National Committee, whose name I don't know.
And nobody even likes him.
And yeah, no one likes him. He put out the report on the last election that was a complete piece of crap.
The autopsy.
And
terrible.
You know, it's like, why is this incompetent person running the Democratic Party?
And why don't we have a bunch of money? But that goes to the billionaire.
Right. Well, that's because we've already established that the Republicans have more money than God right now, and it's because billionaires want Republicans, and we can't let.
And billionaires are making billions because of Republicans.
Well, they're up to trillions with Elon Musk, because since Trump has been in power, Elon Musk's net worth has gained at least $300 billion and put him in the trillionaire category.
Right.
So, you know, that's where the money goes. You know, the billionaires, they run the companies, they run politics. They don't want worker rights. They don't want health care for workers. They want a slave workforce. And if there is a way that they could figure out of doing it, that's what they would do, because they're just hoarding their money, like Jeff Bezos, who owns my former newspaper. He's wasting money right and left, buying yachts and having these huge weddings that cost millions of dollars, while people are starving in the streets of America.
I like his ex-wife.
Oh, well, yeah, Mackenzie Scott.
She's the most giving billionaire.
Yeah, in the past few years. She's given more money than all the other billionaires combined. See, and so I don't know if she's giving to Democratic politics, but, you know, there are ways that Democrats, if there were true Democratic billionaires, the way they could just they could erase the problem, the financial problem of the Democratic National Committee. Because Elon Musk, I think he's given at least $60 million away so far for this year's elections, for the midterms. It's a tiny number to him.
Right.
When you have $1 trillion, $60 million is like, it's not even 6 cents. It's just nothing. So we're dealing with billionaires doing that. We're wondering why, and Mitch would have gotten money from the billionaires if he were a Democrat. He would have found a way to do that. So but we know that's what Mitch would do.
Yes.
Why isn't Andy Beshear doing anything?
Well, so I've been talking to people about Andy Beshear, and he's pretty beloved here in Kentucky by Democrats. And I don't know, I think there's a certain naivete. I don't know what it is, but I think people are really hoping that his sort of good-looking Mr. Rogers persona is going to be the differentiator between him and everyone else who's running for president on the Democratic side and the Republican side. I think what people are hoping is that the way that it swung from Barack Obama to Trump, it's going to swing to Andy.
I don't know about that. I think there's this thing about, if you're a nice guy in politics today, that shows you're weak. And, you know, we know the MAGAs aren't going to vote for Democrats no matter what. Although give him credit. They did vote for Andy Beshear to be governor of Kentucky because his opponents, he had terrible opponents. That's the bottom line with that.
Yeah.
And his father, he got up by name recognition, which is...
And he didn't win by a whole lot. And Matt Bevin was really abhorred by everybody.
Yeah,
in the
Matt
state.
Bevin made Trump... Well, Matt Bevin probably was coaching Trump, or the other way around. They were using each other's playbook. But it really bothers me that... the reason I raise this is because Andy should be going after him. Andy should be saying, look, I'm the governor. I'm supposed to make an appointment. You're not giving me information. If you're not going to give me information, I'm going to do this. And until you prove otherwise, this is what's going to happen. I don't think Mitch is going to respond if he does that because I think he's dead, or I think he's incapacitated to the point where he can't talk. Again, I look at the pictures. People say that's not AI. Okay, maybe it's not AI, but it just looks like the same thing in both pictures, and it looks like the same shirt, and he's got that same smile on his face that we never saw when he was actually alive.
And he has far fewer wrinkles. He's much less turtle looking.
Yeah.
In the new picture.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yeah. It's like, did he go in for?
By the way, I love turtles. I just want to say that.
All right.
Okay.
But it's like he's going through this. We're going through this situation where we just don't know what's going on. The governor. I think a lot of people are going to be pissed off that Andy doesn't do anything because this is his. If he wants to distinguish himself, this is
he is the chief executive of the Commonwealth of Kentucky.
Right.
And so, it is his job to be the chief executive
Right.
and do what's right for the people of Kentucky.
Right.
And it would be what's right for the people of Kentucky to find out whether Mitch is dead or alive.
So we have someone representing us in Washington.
Yeah.
All these laws are being passed, or these votes are being passed on things like funding the Iran war.
Exactly.
That's important to Kentucky because Fort Campbell, where a lot of the soldiers who are going out there, that's where they're based.
Right.
So I just don't understand what Andy's doing, and I also have been seeing other commentators saying that if Andy doesn't do something now, he is dead in terms of presidential politics. And I just look at this as as the defining moment of the Andy Beshear candidacy.
Like the red carpet is literally being rolled out to him.
They've rolled it out. It's been vacuumed.
Right.
It's right there for him to walk on. And he's saying, well, I don't know if he's going to let the deadline pass. I'm just going to be a nice guy. I don't think people want a nice guy now. I do know. I really think Democratic voters want someone who's going to be a hard ass. Because if Andy's going to be a nice guy, that means he's going to let everybody slide who's done all the corruption in the Trump administration. Because we're going to, what's that word that they use? Heal. They use that healing thing, like when Nixon didn't go to jail. This is a time for healing. When it's just I don't get it. I don't get it at all. But so Andy's running for president. He's doing badly right now, but he's doing all the events. He's showing up at all the things. I'm sure he's got like money people already behind him, but I don't think he's going to get it.
Well, and you and I talked about who should be running, a woman.
Yeah, I think this is the time for probably a white woman to run for president.
And we talked about Gretchen Whitmer. I just spent a bunch of time up in Michigan. She's not totally beloved by the Democrats, but I think they don't love her because she's a politician.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there are other possibilities. There are other female governors in the country who could be there. There are female senators. I still think that Hillary Clinton's biggest mistake in her campaign was not making Elizabeth Warren her vice presidential partner. Because
Tim Kaine.
Yeah.
Nobody knew him.
No one knows him now.
He's also a nice guy.
And we were just discussing earlier how if you went up to someone in the street and asked who was the vice presidential candidate for the Democrats in the last election,
Right.
I don't know.
The Minnesota. Did
yeah.
he have something to do with Minnesota?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's what you're going to get.
Yeah.
So like you have to have someone who's going to just like make an impression, and there are no Democrats making impressions right now, which is unfortunate because this is the best time for the Democratic Party to do something, but it's run badly. It's got
It's underfunded.
no funding, and
No press.
well, it's eating itself from within. When the establishment Democrats are saying the Democratic Socialists are not part of the party,
Right.
I mean, well, MAGA wasn't part of the Republican Party,
Right. Tea Party.
Yeah, that was.
before that.
And they were all Republicans. They always were Republicans. The Tea Party was always Republican. MAGA was always Republican. The Democrats do not have something like that. The Democratic Socialist, because socialism is in the title, everyone's freaking out saying, "Oh, socialism is bad," and ask some old person who's collecting Medicare and getting Social Security and getting all these discounts from the government about socialism, and they're against it.
Right. Well, in most Kentucky, a large majority of Kentuckians are on all those public benefits, but
Right.
they don't understand that it really is like socialism.
And now they're waking up to things like, oh, I can't get food stamps now. Oh, that was part of it. Oh, my hospital is closing. Was that part of Trump's plan?
Right.
Yes, it was. That was always part of the plan. And unfortunately, we're going to keep electing bad people like Andy Barr, for example.
Right.
Andy Barr, go to his website, and it is the most racist thing I've ever seen a political candidate do in my life. And I'm very old now. But, he's...
And you've seen a lot
Yeah, this
of
is...
vile shit.
I don't think George Wallace was as vile as Andy Barr. And George
yeah.
Wallace was the Alabama governor
Yeah.
who stood in the schoolhouse to keep black kids from going to a school.
Right, a white
And
school.
was it a college? Maybe it was a college or whatever.
No,
The
yeah.
University of Alabama. And
Magna schools.
but
maybe that
I mean,
was-
that's he ran a racist campaign, but I mean, Andy Barr is like going after DEI, which because people are not smart, they think DEI means, oh, that's going to black people. No, the biggest beneficiary of DEI programs are white women. That's the truth. But again, these are white women in Kentucky voting against that. Andy Barr is going after trans athletes. How many trans athletes are there in Kentucky? How many trans athletes are there in the country? It's a handful. It really is a handful, and that's one of his major platforms. I'm going to keep trans athletes out of girls' sports.
Right.
Well, by that logic, you should keep male coaches out of women's sports because, I think a male coach is more likely to do things to a woman athlete than a trans athlete's going to do.
And we've seen that.
Yes, we see that all the time.
All the time.
Like that.
Basketball, swimming teams, all of it.
Or youth pastors. The list goes on and on. So he's against that. He's against immigrants. He's anti-immigrant, even though immigrants are picking crops and stuff like that no one wants to do. They're taking the jobs that no one wants to do. For example, cleaning the bedpan of your grandmother when she's in the nursing home. Those are the immigrants doing it. It's not some like MAGA moron they've been taking my job, so I'm going to go now
Yeah,
work
and
at
who else is going to pick your tomatoes, and who else is going to scoop the shit of the thoroughbred horses on the backside?
Yeah. Yeah.
Come on.
And
who's going to put your roof on your house?
Yeah, and Andy Barr also. Oh, speaking of roof on my house, one of the people who was working on the roof next door was taken away by ICE not too long ago. So it's like this is not imaginary. This is happening, and we're seeing it happen every day. What Democrat has ever built a Gestapo like Donald Trump has built? I remember when Barack Obama was president and Texas was going nuts because they were saying that he was about to send the military in to take over Texas. Those
I'll tell you what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid of the military being sent in before these elections.
Well, I'm sure that's what's going to. I would not be surprised if that happens, and that's why people like Andy Barr have to go after the jugular now. There's no Mr. Nice Guy here anymore. We have to.
Oh, Andy Bashir has to go for the jugular.
Yeah. Andy Bashir has to go for governor.
We got a tale of two Andys.
Two Andy B's. That's what we got. So we're dealing with this. So I have no faith in the voters in this state because they've shown time and time again that they're going to vote against their interest because of either hatred or, well, it's hatred. That's what it is.
And it's been fueled by the media, by social media, all the technology. You can be so disgusting, just sitting at your computer and not being connected to people. You can say the worst, vilest stuff. I think that's one of the reasons that people are so much worse than even...
And that's because of people like Elon Musk, who owns Twitter, changed it to X.
Or Peter Thiel, who owns PayPal and Venmo.
Yeah.
Think about all that financial data that he has access to.
Or Mark Zuckerberg, who owns Facebook, and you go on Facebook, and I end up just swearing at my computer when I go on Facebook because the things that are on it are so vile.
Yeah.
And you're supposed to be able to moderate what content you see, and I block things, and the next day the same thing by a different person is on my screen. So but Zuckerberg has made billions of dollars. Peter Thiel has made billions of dollars. Elon Musk has made trillions of dollars. So we have a communication problem here, and we also have a bad media situation because last week, and I got really mad about this. The columnist for the Courier-Journal, which is the local newspaper, wrote this obituary for Mitch McConnell, which was pretty scathing. Joe Girth is the columnist's name. And he wrote this thing that was just really scathing against Mitch, saying what horrible disaster he's been for America. Then, a couple of days later, he wrote this thing saying, well, Andy Bashir shouldn't try to find out about Mitch McConnell because that's just going too far. And I'm thinking, did he get so much hate mail that he decided he had to do a let's attack the Democrats piece?
I don't know that he would have decided that. Maybe the people at Gannett told him to do that.
Well, it doesn't have to be the people at Gannett. It has just to be the person who's running the Courier.
Right.
But even then, I'm sure he's got a lot of hate mail on that.
Yeah.
And I think he's covering his ass, which, that's the problem with journalism today. Because if you want to talk about ass covers, look at the White House Correspondents' Dinner this past week. Trump goes in and he just insults everybody for an hour and a half. Anyone who had any modicum of self-respect would have said, okay, I'm going to say it, fuck you, I'm out of here, and they would have all gotten up and left. Instead, they wait around for the award ceremony where the award is given to the Wall Street Journal reporters who reported about Trump's letter to Epstein and all this other Trump stuff. And they give them an award in front of Trump. They go to shake his hand, even though he's had people investigate them. And, I wouldn't have even gone to the thing. But I do believe that there's this, the bosses in the media elite decided you better go to this thing because it's the president and we don't want to look bad. And so you just sit there and have someone abuse you for an hour and a half with bad jokes. And I have not seen a funny conservative comic. I don't think they exist. People say, oh, Greg Geltfeld's a comic, and it's like, you think that's funny? You have no taste. So we're dealing with this all the time, and there's a problem with our media coverage of Mitch, which we've already discussed. There's a problem with the media coverage of what's going on in Washington, and I can't. It bothers me when I read headlines in the New York Times talking about what's the best aftershave to use when the fucking government is burning down and you're talking about these irrelevant things.
Well, when you go to the Courier-Journal and you just try to get news, it's all sports stuff. It's very difficult to get news.
Right. Well, that's because people know that the only thing people care about in Kentucky is sports. if you have like Louisville versus University of Louisville or University of Kentucky, it's like it's on. If you don't have, and I was here at the Courier Journal when that happened, if you don't have the same number of column inches on one university, the other university's fans are going to just ream you out for forever. So it's like, oh, we have 5 paragraphs on the University of Louisville, we have to have 5 paragraphs on the University of Kentucky, even if Kentucky's like in a national championship and Louisville doesn't even qualify or reverse it, they have to have the same amount of coverage. So we'll see what's going to happen there. And while I'm talking about Andy Barr, since I have nothing good to say about him, and I'm sure he's going to win this race, there's this billboard, and I don't know if I talked about this last time, but there's a billboard on Crittenden Drive at the I-65 intersection. And the billboard is of Charlie Kirk. It has Charlie Kirk, year of birth, year of death, and the line under it is "Prove me wrong." And I'm wondering who's doing this. Is this part of the Barr campaign? Because if I were Andy Barr's person, I would go to some event that Charles Booker's at, maybe even Fancy Farm, and say, "What do you think of the billboard on for Charlie Kirk?" And you know, they know what the response is going to be, and the answer, whatever, it doesn't matter what Booker says on it. The next group of ads from the Republicans, because Republicans are rat fuckers, and I'll explain what that term means because that is a legitimate political term. They're going to like put all over Charles Booker hates white people. Look what he said about Charlie Kirk, our patron saint of white. I guess it's white supremacy is what he is.
Exactly. Right.
You know, it's like, okay, you're going to put this community college dropout, which is what he was, a community college dropout. And
you're sounding very elitist right now.
Well, he's a community college dropout. I know. And you're going to compare him to like Martin Luther King Jr., you know, who's, you know.
Mother Teresa.
Yeah, who, you know, what Charlie Kirk's stick was that he would go to college campuses and debate students. Okay, a grown man debating 18-year-olds on issues, and it's like, they're kids. You know, kids are going to say stupid things. I don't think I saw him go on like some interaction with like a real adult and like have this debate, because he would have had his ass kicked in these debates. And going back to the rat fucking term, that's a term that was very prevalent during Watergate, because Donald Segretti was one of the Nixon henchmen who were doing all these like evil things behind the scenes to make Democrats look bad. And the best example of that was when they made Edmund Muskie cry in New Hampshire because they said something bad about his wife. He was apparently the Manchester Union leader had done something, an editorial on his wife, and that was part of the rat fucking. It's just you do things to get your opponent to do something so you can attack your opponent for doing the thing that you know the opponent's going to do. And that's why the Charles Booker billboard is up there. I have no idea who paid for it. That's a failure of journalism, because there should be someone at the Courier Journal going out and saying, who paid for this billboard? What's his affiliation with the Barr campaign? And why does Andy Barr allow this to happen if he's talking about things like, well, the governor shouldn't go so low as to find out what Mitch McConnell's state of health is. So as you can tell, I'm kind of riled up about this.
So I have a couple of good things to report. I'm looking at the Courier today, actually, and Representative Thomas Massey says he will sponsor anti-flock camera bill. He wants to sponsor a bill to withhold federal dollars from cities that use flock cameras. I think that's great. He doesn't want flock cameras surveilling law-abiding citizens. And the assumption is that most of us are law-abiding citizens.
Well, you should explain flock cameras because, again,
they capture license plates and other details from passing vehicles. They upload the information to a database that can be accessed by police across the country. And they're usually in majority-minority neighborhoods, a lot more of them.
Yeah, this is true. It's essentially part of the surveillance state now, and That's
And that goes, I mean, he is more of a libertarian, so it does make sense that he would be sponsoring legislation for that. But I think that's good.
no, well, yeah. Well, I mean, it's an intrusion.
It's an intrusion.
And it's definitely an intrusion aimed at minority communities, so people like ICE can see. The flat cameras will also see your face, so they'll see that. Oh, there's a brown person driving that car in that neighborhood. We're doing our routine attacks on America there, so let's just follow the flat camera and see what's going on. And they're all over the city. I think there's one down on the University of Louisville campus. There are. The thing is, I have no problem with them if they are equally distributed. If you're going to go into the black neighborhood, you should have them in the white neighborhood, and that's not the case. It would be interesting
I
to see.
have a problem with them. I just think they're another sign of the surveillance state.
I
Although
agree.
I got to
Yeah.
tell you something. I was visiting friends in Port Sanilac, Michigan, which is right on Lake Huron. So on the other side of Lake Huron is Canada.
Mm-hmm.
They are seeing drones, tiny drones. They're out in their hot tub. And they're naked in their hot tub facing the lake, and tiny drones are flying around their community right now.
And what makes them think those are just pervs, getting off on things?
Well, that's a very good question, but one of them has had a very high position in the federal government, and what she said was, you can't shoot them down, you can't do anything, because if you do, and it's federal government property,
You're committing a federal crime, yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so.
No, I don't like it.
And we're just going into this situation where there's people we're being spied on. If you remember
and I have an Alexa, speaker.
Yeah, I disconnected that.
Yeah, you got to disconnect those.
Yeah.
They hear everything, and then all of a sudden you're getting ads for anything that
Yeah.
you've been talking about.
And
worse.
and you don't know how long they're keeping the recordings.
Right.
You don't know who's listening to the recordings. You don't know who can access the recordings. I just got rid of my Alexa and all
Well, it's
my
Amazon anyway.
my Amazon stuff. Although the problem is we still have cell phones, and you can hear us through the cell phones. They can hear us through the smart televisions, and I'm not being paranoid about this.
No.
This is documented stuff. So we're
And a lot of those guys are in his government. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah,
they're the billionaires that.
Yeah, and this is all part of an effort to steal the next election.
Right.
Although
Speaking of that, I have another piece of good news. So, a federal judge dismissed a case. So, first of all, Trump tried to sue 30 states, right?
Yep, including Kentucky.
Including Kentucky, because we have a Democratic governor. It's certainly not a Democratic state.
No, Trump has been quoted as saying that they're not sending funds to states that didn't vote for him.
Yeah.
That's just.
Exactly.
I
know, and FEMA and all that. Well, and Bashir has joined a lawsuit from governors wanting to fight this whole FEMA thing and withholding FEMA because we're getting all the floods because of global warming,
Right.
And then it's being withheld for political reasons.
And we're getting global warming because Republicans don't believe in science.
Right. And if we had a more humane president, rather than
child raper, rather than a child raper,
rather than wanting to sue our neighbor to the north for wildfires, we would be sending firefighters.
Yeah.
Oh, I wanted to tell you something. When I was in Canada, all of the spirit sales are in stores run by the federal government of Canada.
Spirit sales meaning
spirits,
booze,
not
right?
not beer and wine.
Yeah.
Okay, so I went into a spirit store. There was not one bottle of California wine, and there are no Kentucky bourbons.
Right.
Anywhere. You
Yeah.
will not find anything from America on any of the shelves of any of the spirit stores all over Canada. Do you know how much money we're losing because of that?
Yeah, we're losing tons of money.
And I would guess that a lot of those owners of those things voted for him.
Of the spirit stores in the States, yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
bourbon makers
Oh, yeah,
and of
yeah,
wine
yeah.
makers. Anybody super wealthy, probably.
But the thing too is that if that's happening in Canada, that
Yeah.
means it happens in all other countries. So,
It was amazing to see.
I think one of the distilleries recently said that they were like shutting down for a couple of
Yeah.
years just because they were overstocked
Yeah.
and didn't.
There's
no buyers.
insufficient demand.
So yeah, it's
That was oh my God. Well, and honestly, I wanted to go in because my daughter designed the branding for Jackson Purchase Bourbon. It's out of Western Kentucky, and she won an award, an advertising award for her bottle design. And I wanted to find her bottle in the spirit store. Well, no Kentucky bourbons, no American anything.
Yeah, it's just we are just in general we are just getting so destroyed by what this administration has done.
Yeah.
And again, it's a failure of our journalistic sector. It's a failure of the Republican Party. It's a failure of the Democratic Party for not fighting better, or for using that when they go low, we go high.
Well, honestly, Jesse, every single day has been an opportunity since Trump was reelected. Every single day has been an opportunity to be on the front page of everything to just call out his bullshit. And
Right.
it just, we haven't done it.
Yeah,
And I say we, I mean, I'm a progressive, so, it's just so disillusioning.
Yeah, there were a couple of things that happened in the media recently. There was a female commentator on the left who was on CNN maybe a week ago talking about the current political situation, and she said, that you look at the Epstein files and there are strong indications that Donald Trump raped children, and the CNN guys immediately cut her off because we can't say that, it's just not right. And the reason you can't say it is because Donald Trump will call up and they can't threaten their license because it's not a broadcast license. CNN's a cable company, but they're going to give them all kinds of crap about even though the Epstein files still haven't been released.
And why don't we hear about them every single day?
Well,
every single day.
Tom Massey's trying to get them out, but what happened in our last election? Tom Massey was essentially voted out of his seat because another Republican endorsed by the child rapist got the seat. And, meanwhile, Andy Barr is just, Andy Barr is just on his knees. And Trump is saying I don't know. Andy Barr is doing everything to get Trump's approval.
Yeah.
And the fact that you would want the endorsement of someone so decrepit and evil is amazing. It just says it talks about his character, and that's
but the conservative Christians think he's the Pope, or
they've gotten those AI images of him as Jesus,
right?
Did you ever see that AI image of him laying hands on someone?
Yeah,
the guy that he's laying hands on looks like Jeffrey Epstein.
Right.
You just have to look and say, when I saw it, I thought, why is there this thing of Donald Trump like laying hands on Jeffrey Epstein as Jesus?
Right.
So we've got this, it just is amazing that we're not connecting. It's not even a matter of connecting the dots. It's like the drawing is there, the painting's on the wall, and you don't see anything. You just say, it's not paint, and I don't know what's going on. And I'm not going to rag on Republicans all the time, although they deserve it, but the fact that the Democratic Party is in shambles right now, where the Democratic Socialists are considered like anathema to what the Democratic Party stands for, is amazing. These are people, the corporate Democrats have been bought by the same people who bought the Republicans, and they're saying that this talk about like having child care for everybody is that's not allowed. Or there's this congressman, I guess it was a Republican congressman, but these congressmen saying, you don't deserve free health care when our tax dollars are going to give free health care to Israel, or Canada, our neighbor to the north, has free health care. And the complaint, and everybody knows that that's a better situation than one especially one I'm going through, because to get an appointment with a doctor these days, you have to set an appointment, and it's like 3 or 4 months from when you need it. I had to. I was supposed to see a neurologist earlier this year. I think back in January. My appointment is next week. That's when I asked about it. My appointment happens next week. That's August, and when I was talking about it in January. So the fact that people are saying, well, in those countries that have free healthcare, the wait list is like going on forever. Hey, in Kentucky, we have no hospitals. We're not going to have any rural hospitals. And if you think your wait is long now, my wait is long. Just wait till those hospitals close and all the people should come here.
In addition to that, as Medicaid cuts continue, you're going to have fewer and fewer participating physicians and hospitals being able to serve low-income people and people with disabilities. Do you mind? Okay, go
we're
ahead.
the bulk of the Kentucky electorate.
Right.
It's like low-income people. I don't know what I think the average annual salary of a Kentuckian is like $45,000 a year. So, what are we going to do?
Well, I'm so glad you said what are we going to do? I have some suggestions of what are we going to do. One place that has a lot of information about taking action, we have been kind of really discussing and our disillusion with the Democratic Party, but the Kentucky Democrats have a mobilize.us page, and there is a lot going on to canvass for various Democratic candidates for a number of different races. I'm seeing a lot of women running, which is really, really good. So even this weekend, canvassing for Sarah Cole McIntosh, she's State District 36. And then I see canvass launch for Jennifer Hardin, State Rep District 33. A lot of canvassing opportunities. If you don't know what that is, you basically meet with the team, and you can walk, you can make calls, etc. It's very effective when people, see people and ask for their votes and are up close. It's very, very effective. A bunch of counties need precinct officers and things like that. So a lot of opportunities for activism with the Democrats. And in Louisville, on July 30th, that's this Thursday, do you want to learn about stopping a $500 million new jail? There is a conversation at the Fairness Office, 2263 Frankfurt Avenue, about Care Not Cages 101. So learning about what we can do to stop a $500 million new jail. And then also the next Community Defense Network training with Louisville Showing Up for Racial Justice, which is something that I do regularly. The next training is on August 27th. And you can just look up Louisville SURJ. Either Google it or get on Facebook, and you can sign up for that training. You will feel so good that you're doing it. We're just accompanying our neighbors that are being attacked, and we're really helping. So those are a couple of things.
Okay. There's something I want to talk about just in terms of local issues. It's Louisville-specific issues. We have a mayoral race coming up with Craig Greenberg and Shamika Parrish-Wright. One of the things I don't understand Shamika not doing is going after Greenberg over the can opener.
What is that again?
Yes, what's the can opener?
Yeah.
There's a bridge on the University of Louisville campus that's 11 feet 4 inches high, and
it's at Eastern Parkway.
Eastern Parkway and 3rd Street, and they've closed the highway. They closed 65 through downtown Louisville, so everybody's trying to reroute around that area to get to the connection in the north, like from the south to the north part of the city. So you see a lot of trucks and cars, tons more than usual because there's no highway going through Louisville anymore, driving on city streets. And one of the streets they're hitting is this street on where the can opener is, just this low bridge. And like they've got this tiny sign that says 11 foot 4 inches, and there are 12-foot trucks trying to get through, and there's just video after video of these trucks getting their tops shorn off.
Plus, it's a railroad bridge.
It's
so
a railroad
I'm certain
bridge.
that it's
I wonder about the
eroding.
stability,
Exactly.
the stability of this, because it's not getting hit like rarely. And the highway was closed on June 1st. By the end of June, 33 trucks had gotten their can opened there. And the first day of the closure, I was walking by the university, and there was a truck parked because it had lost its top.
right.
Now, this is Greenberg's fault. This is Mayor Greenberg's fault, and the reason is because the city should have known. They know that this is an issue. The can opener has been here forever. I have photos of it from the 1970s where this is not where people go. There were very few warning signs. After the first 3 or 4 happened, they decided to put up a sign that said trucks turn left. There's another sign, maybe a couple hundred yards away from it, that is supposed to be flashing that says trucks turn. It doesn't flash.
Yeah.
People say, oh, it only flashes when there's a truck that's that tall. But there's no, from what I can tell, there's no sign on the other side of the can opener. Like if you're going northbound, what you see is the bridge, and it's got eyes and a teeth, and it's like, oh, that's cute. Meanwhile, you drive into it and you lost your top.
Right.
Now, what this means for the driver is there are a lot of people who are renting trucks, and their insurance will not cover that. They have to pay for that damage. The fact that the city didn't, well, they knew for a year that that the road was going to be closed. Why didn't someone just put their GPS on, see what would happen if you left the highway, what road they would take you up? And I'm sure most of these people are driving based on GPS because no one uses maps anymore. And even if they were using maps, there's not enough signage to stop the trucks from getting hit. Now, if there are 33 trucks getting decapitated in 1 month, and we're in the second month now, there have to be at least 50. And so people are responsible for millions of dollars of damages. And I don't understand why Shamika isn't having an event at the can opener saying, this is the mayor's fault. This is what he's paid for. You're supposed to make sure the roads are right, working right, and you're supposed to make sure that your civilians are safe. He's failed on the civilian safe part because he let ICE in the city. And they're as I said, they've taken away someone who's working on a roof next door to me. Yeah. They're all over the city. Of course, they're not. I don't know if they show up in the white neighborhoods. I don't know.
We just got an alert about a Kroger in the East End. So we have we have alerts where ICE is showing up, and then who can go, and then we go.
Yeah, it's so,
But it's primarily.
But this is the mayor's fault. He allowed this to happen. Other mayors, Democratic mayors, have stood up and said, we're not going to allow them to do this. The mayor of Los Angeles did it. The mayor of Minneapolis did it. Mayor of New York does it now.
Well, if your whole career is about developing and making money, then this was a calculated decision about we need to have money, and it wasn't about human rights. It wasn't about human dignity. Mm-hmm. I also want to add something about the I-65 closure. I don't know if you've noticed, Jesse, but there are cross streets that everybody's taking now because you can't get on the interstate, and there are so many road closures.
Yes, they're doing construction around the city.
My God.
My mind is
know
blown
how to
by
get
this.
home.
Yeah, I drive from my son's house. He lives a couple of miles away from me. And the direct route, I have a direct route, but it's closed because of the bridge construction. So I go to another side street, and they're doing different road repairs.
St. Catherine is closed, Brackenridge is
but that's
closed.
There's some streets that are closed that aren't related to the bridge.
Right.
It's just they decide that they're going to do other things on the street. So this is the mayor's fault. And this is so easy to hit him on. And Shamika should be out there just on him every day saying, why did you let this happen? Why do you let our people be taken away by a Gestapo? Why are you letting, why did you let the trucks go, these 18-wheelers go through our neighborhoods, like through residential neighborhoods.
And they're coming down my street
Yeah.
all the time.
All the time. And it's just, there's no excuse for any of this. And the unfortunate thing is that he's going to win again. He's going to win his reelection. And while we're talking about, things that...
By the way, I don't want him to win. I'm voting for Shamika, and I'm going to be canvassing for Shamika, and everybody who cares about anything should be giving her money because she deserves to have a really good run for this.
Right. And I mean, she is the best choice right now because she's not interested in what the moneyed interest of Louisville want. She's interested in what best affects the people of Louisville. And she's been a
hard worker as a community organizer. She cares about the issues. She's very knowledgeable. She's very smart. She is by far the better candidate.
Okay, and the other thing that the mayor is doing is let's talk about data centers.
Yeah.
I see that they're going to have like 4 meetings about data centers. One is going to be a virtual meeting. The others are, like, there's one in the West End, and there's one at a university. I forget where the third one is. But there's talk about building a data center in the West End.
Yep. Why in the West End, Jesse?
Because that's where the black people live.
Oh.
That's where
Rubbertown is, and all the pollution, childhood asthma rates, lower life expectancy.
Yeah.
Let's put it there.
Yeah, what neighborhood can we screw over that we've screwed over for the past century?
Brownfields.
Yeah. It's but there's this discussion on data centers, and they're talking about the West End. If you look, this is an issue in Kentucky now, even among the parts of rural Kentucky that are strong Trump supporters. They don't want data centers in their neighborhoods because, one, it has an effect on the water supply. It raises electric rates, and it's just taking away the environment. Like, you're building these huge, big buildings that you're getting rid of greenery, and it's for the benefit of billionaires.
Right.
And my question, if I were going to any of these meetings, is I looked at what the composition of the committee that's going to review these data centers, and it's made up of realtors.
Of course.
So the question is, what realtor owns land there? And how much money are they going to get from this? Because that was an issue in another state. It might have been Michigan. But there was some public official bought like hundreds of acres before the data center was announced, and then it turns out they're going to buy the data center.
Insider
I'm going to
trading.
support this.
That's how this country is being run right now.
Well, Trump is insider trading, definitely.
No, he hasn't made any money since he's been president.
A couple of billion, and like he's got Jared, his son-in-law, in negotiating in the Middle East. I'm going to blow. This is blowing my mind that they're talking about giving nuclear bombs to Saudi Arabia, nuclear capability. Do you not remember that the Saudis were the ones who bombed the World Trade Center? It wasn't the Iraqis, it wasn't the Iranians, it wasn't the Palestinians, it was the Saudis. And you're going to give Saudis nuclear weapons. Oh, okay. Because Jared is part of the deal, and Jared makes money from the Saudi government. So, we're screwed. I don't know what to say. And as I say, I don't know what to say. I'm looking, and we have been doing this for more than an hour now.
Yeah. Do you want to tell us about the movie you watched that you really liked?
Oh, yeah. I've gotten sick of Marvel movies, but I watched Thunderbolts the other day, and if you are going through depression, it is a great movie to watch because it just shows what depression in its most extreme will do to a person. And it's like the characters are not like the varsity Avengers, they're like the JV Avengers, but they're going through this situation where everyone has some kind of thing that is causing major depression. And one of the most powerful of these superheroes was an abused child. You see the abuse happen in his mind, and he completely goes off, and the world just goes black. It literally goes black because his depression is so deep that he just can't get out of it. And so it shows that you have to be out there. People have to be out there supporting people who are depressed, because this movie fits this time period very well. A lot of people are depressed. They don't know who to turn to or what to turn to, and it's just this thing where you have to help people who are going through this darkness. So I recommend it highly. I'm sure it's not a movie that is going to be like memorable for a lot of Marvel movie people, because it's not. I mean, there's a lot of action in it, but the theme is just so down that it's probably one of the best representations of depression that I've ever seen.
And honestly, most of the people I know, including myself, are on antidepressants. I think it's hard to be a sensitive human being that cares about equality, human rights, land rights, etc., and not be depressed right now.
Right, because you see that. What's the phrase? Well, good doesn't always triumph over evil. That's the reality, and we're seeing it today. I just recommend the movie as something to think about. Just watch it and think about it, because there are people who need a lot of help now, and it's getting worse. Like you were saying that while you were in Canada, you saw drug abusers, and they were like nodding off in the streets. When I lived in San Francisco, I saw the same thing. They have this thing called the fentanyl nod, where
now it's called the fentanyl flop. But okay. You said something else about the nod that you saw even from when you lived
when I was growing
Brooklyn.
up when I was growing up in Brooklyn back in the '60s, there was a huge drug problem in New York, and you would drive through Harlem, and you'd see the junkies nodding off on the corners. This is something I've witnessed. And there was a time where I wasn't noticing it that much, or maybe I just didn't see it anymore because things had gotten better in a sense. And now I see it even more. Like when I was living in San Francisco, what's the stuff that you use when you're having an overdose? Narcan or Nard? Mm-hmm. Okay. I carried that with me because you never knew if you're going to see someone on the street who was like overdosing and you needed to give them something immediately. One of my coworkers at the San Francisco Chronicle actually helped someone who was just dying, and she had Narcan with her because this is just something you carry around these days. And that's the state of the country right now, where people are carrying something because they know that there are going to be people out there who are so far gone that they're going to need help. They're going to die if you don't help them.
And mutual aid has always been one of the best parts of our species. So I do see mutual aid increasing right now when you see so many failures on so many levels. But it really would be nice to build up government and the public sector so that people do get what they need, their needs met. With people that really care about the issues.
Just like health care for all, or people getting food stamps, or like hospitals not closing. It's just,
By the way, did we talk? I know it's probably time to close, but Andy just came up with monies to counter the cruel and horrible Medicaid shortage that the Republican legislature approved for their bill for the budget.
Right.
And I was just at the Home of the Innocents, which is a facility for young people with varying degrees of disabilities, and I was at their pool, and they do such a good job. And they did not have funding for a while until Andy just came through the past week and came up with funds. This is what government is supposed to be doing.
Right, and I would add to that, what would happen if a Republican was governor? You wouldn't have the money. It wouldn't happen.
No way.
But again, the Republican's probably going to win the next election because I don't understand why. But there's no...
You do understand why.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of racism in this state. The state is, 60% white, at least 60%?
I think it's more than that.
Yeah, I'd have to look it up. Maybe it might be close to 80%. Yeah, it's like one of the smallest smallest minority populations in the country.
Yeah.
So... but the thing is that this healthcare isn't going to just minorities. The healthcare is for the vast majority
Not
of
only
people.
healthcare, but publicly funded
Yeah,
healthcare.
this is going
goes to
yeah.
primarily white people in the state.
in Kentucky,
who are
and
not
most of the quote unquote socialist agenda exists and is going to a lot of white people in the state who, yeah, as I said earlier, it was like, okay, I'm against all this government spending, but don't touch my Medicare, don't touch my Social Security, make sure my hospitals remain open.
My pension.
And while you're at it, clean my streets. You know,
Right.
that's what taxes go
Don't
to.
close the highway.
Don't close the highway and definitely don't drive your truck in a residential neighborhood where you will lose the top of your truck. So, anyway, that's.
Yeah, it's been kind of a downer.
Well, I don't think it's a downer. I just think it's
Reality.
an acknowledgement of reality. And we are in a time where people are not acknowledging reality.
Yeah, that's very correct.
So, we'll go back to the famous, what's her name? The woman who worked for the Trump administration, Conway, Kellyanne Conway, when they were asking about what she was talking about, she says, well, there are alternate facts. No, the alternate facts are lies. And that's what this administration has done. And, well, I'll throw this out here for healthcare, too. Measles are up.
Yeah, of course.
Measles, which is almost cured.
What about the Mahas? Shouldn't we be having lower measles rates and lower, all these things?
Well, they say measles are caused by vaccines.
Right.
It's like that joke where someone says to someone, I used a dandruff shampoo, and the other person says, why are you using it? You don't have dandruff. It's like, because I use dandruff shampoo. Okay.
We'll end on that.
Yes, let's end on that. And thanks for listening. If anyone's listening, thank you for listening. And we will be back soon.
See ya.
We won't be gone a month again. So long, folks. Our closing music is by John Chamberlain.